Here at Mandate Democracy, we firmly believe that in order to have a functioning democracy, people must first understand the importance of such government and be able to recognize common principles upon which it is established.
There is often a lot of confusion surrounding the true meaning of democracy. For example, are all democracies equal? Or are some forms perhaps more democratic than others? Some even wonder why we choose democracy over other forms of government. In this podcast, we will unpack some of the key characteristics of democracy and differentiate between the different types of democracies that exist.
My name's Rachel.
And my name is Kennedy, and today we are going to be talking about the importance of understanding democracy.
In his acclaimed work titled On Democracy, Robert Dahl talks about how a true democracy includes effective participation, equality in voting, and the inclusion of adults. He also asserts that democracy should lead to an enlightened understanding and result in an outcome that represents the shared agenda of the voting majority. In a nutshell, the ideal democracy is government for the people, by the people, and everyone should have fair and equal access to exercise their right to vote. Additionally, a functioning democracy should contain free, independent, and pluralistic media outlets to represent diverse points of view.
Although this is the ideal concept of democracy, we often see imperfections in democratic structures, as well as failed states of democracy. These include, but are not limited to, fraudulent elections, fake news reports, disenfranchised communities, unequal voting access, gerrymandering, and voter suppression.
Now that we have an overview of what democracy is and some examples of different democracies, let's talk about why the principles of democracy are so important. The essential elements of democracy, as defined by the United Nations, fosters an atmosphere conducive to greater participation, equality, human development, and security. Furthermore, it provides a system in which decision makers and political leaders can be held accountable and must uphold respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms of all citizens.
Elements of democracy provide the necessary structure for societies to develop and emerge as world leaders. U.S. aid defines democratic governance as building open, responsive, and accountable institutions and processes that serve the needs and preferences of the public. A principal goal of democracy is to ensure that all citizens have the opportunity to participate in and have a voice in deciding how they will be governed. In order to achieve a successful democracy, there must be fair competition, transparency, and accountability. These three elements combine to ensure that all citizens' preferences are represented.
Democracy gives people many rights and freedoms. The United Nations provides the essential elements of democracy. Democracy fosters respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms, as well as freedom of association, expression, and opinion. All citizens have the right to vote by secret ballot as the expression of the will of the people.
In addition to rights and freedoms for the people, the United Nations supports democracy because it gives government a stable balance of power. Democracy grants access to power and its exercise in accordance with the rule of law. Democratic governments hold periodic free and fair elections. Democratic governments hold the separation of power, the independence of the judiciary, the transparency and accountability in public administration. There is a pluralistic system of political parties and organizations, as well as free, independent, and pluralistic media.
While our current democracy has many great features, the Mandate Democracy iVoting app will help stop some flaws of the system. Right now, there is partisan gridlock preventing cooperation and crucial legislation to be passed. The current government is dysfunctional and non-responsive to the people.
This app will promote effective participation in our government. People will have the ability to vote on specific issues to meet national needs and aspirations. Instead of voting for political parties, people will vote for issues that matter.
The app will allow universal access and suffrage on mobile devices by authenticated voters, and it will be cyber secure as well as privacy protected to highest standards.
We'd like to now wrap up with a quote by John Lewis, which states, "Voting and participating in democratic process, powerful nonviolent change agent that you have in a democratic society. You must use it because it is not guaranteed. You can lose it."
Mandate Democracy is a nonpartisan, non-for-profit organization dedicated to restoring trust in our government and supporting an educated electorate. If you'd like to support Mandate Democracy, we encourage you to think about donating to the Democracy Scholar page. It directly funds the work of district representatives here at Mandate and enables the foundation to grow.
The Democracy Scholars page can be reached through the Mandate Democracy website or through our representative social media accounts. Join us for our future segments as we dive into core governance topics and discuss the importance of democracy, the Constitution, the 3 branches of government, and much more.